I'm Gary.
And this is Austin.
And I'm Tyler.
And we are Midwest Mics coming back at you live from the UClick TV studios inside the Hy-Vee Arena. Here we are once again, another Wednesday, time for another Midwest Mics episode since you last saw us a week ago.
We're inching closer to 100.
We are. We are there.
Creeping on 100.
Episode 91 this evening, so getting closer. We'll talk more about that a little later in the show. But we are bringing in a very special guest this evening, Stephen Lyons. He is a Cowboys fan that lives out east in the New York, New Jersey area, about 20 minutes outside the Meadowlands. He was at the Cowboys-Jets game last weekend, longtime Cowboys fan, season ticket holder with the Cowboys, flies from Jersey for one game a year. And I saw that this week a friend sent me a text that said, hey, Gary, did you start this? And it was a picture of a GoFundMe account to get Jason Garrett fired. And anyone who knows me knows that I've been saying fire Jason Garrett for years. So I said, I've got to reach out to this guy and see if he'll join us on the show. So, Stephen, welcome in.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me. So
Absolutely.
I just want to start off by saying that when Jason Garrett first joined the Cowboys, when he was their offensive coordinator and then got promoted into the coaching role, I was on board with Jason Garrett as a coach. But one of the things, if you take a look, I feel over the years we continue to get better talent, but for some reason the performance doesn't match the talent that's coming into the organization. And if you take a look, you take a look at 3 straight weeks where we come out flat. I think it's lack of preparation, lack of focus. It comes down to coaching. Yes, coaches don't play, but they are responsible for executing the playbook. Each coach is responsible for their position to execute that, to make sure the blocking, the tackling's done, and to focus on the end result, which is to win the game.
Absolutely. I feel the same way. I was his first couple years, I was on board with it, but again, as some different roster moves and things were being made, I didn't feel like he was keeping up. And before he got the last contract extension was really when I was like, man, we need to get rid of this guy. We're not going to win with him. And I thought we would win in spite of him this year, but obviously it's not happening.
Yeah, I thought the end of the Jason Garrett era was a couple of years ago in the playoff loss at home to Green Bay. Once again, we find ourselves in a hole early in the game, and we're trying to come back to climb out of that hole. And you take a look, here we are 3 years later, and we're dealing with the same stuff. So, we're supposed to be getting better as a team, and I just don't think that we're going that route.
I'll say this too. Say what you want about Jerry Jones. The dude is a good GM. He really is. I mean, the trade for Amari, he was like when he first made it, he was getting blasted, and it turned out. I mean, Amari Cooper is super legit, and you guys' offense is definitely missing him, right?
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is the defense, should pick it up because you guys have, you guys got a top 5 running back. Worst case scenario, Dak is a top 10 quarterback. No, he said no.
I'm a Dak hater.
Okay,
for sure.
worst case scenario.
I think Dak isn't part of the. I think Jason
Dak's
Garrett
part of the
and Dak. I think they go hand in hand together. I think you.
Oh
get rid
shoot!
of both.
I like Dak Prescott. I think Dak's a good quarterback.
I'm just not a fan of Dak.
He's like one of the top QBR guys out there. He is. And
If you take a look if you take a look at who our past quarterbacks are, let's see. We have Quincy Carter. We have who else? Ryan Leaf. So
Romo.
Tony Banks. Tony Banks.
Hey, you take a look at some of those quarterbacks. He looks great.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm a big Romo guy. I like Romo. I thought he was good given the situation he was in. He was on some teams with no defense. I was watching one game. I think it was that Packers game. Scored 5 touchdowns. They still lost. Threw for 500
There was
yards.
a Denver game too. I think where he threw
The Denver
for
game. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a bunch of touchdowns.
Yep, and he threw the pick at the end of the game. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
and they put all the blame on him. And it's like, no.
All right, I got a smart question for you guys.
Oh,
Okay. Okay. So say Jason Garrett's a great coach. Is there a problem with? I mean, you get another coach. Is there a problem with the chemistry? And do you think another coach? Do you think it's a coaching issue with the chemistry? If it's a chemistry issue, okay. So chemistry. Get your little, measuring bottles out and your little sterno and create some good chemistry there, right? Science.
Yeah, Steven, what do you think there?
I think there is something going on where the guys aren't bought into his playbook. I mean, because they're not coming in the beginning. They're not coming out responding at all. I think I heard an excerpt from Jesse Holley today, and Jesse Holley just put it perfect. He said, when you're sitting in these meetings as a player, you're either bought into the program or you're not, and and these guys aren't responding. And the reason they're not responding is probably because they're not bought into Jason Garrett. What the reason for that is, there's probably stuff that's going on behind closed doors. I don't know, but I mean, if you look at the talent that we have, we are so much better than a 3-3 team. And here we
absolutely.
are, potentially looking at 3-4 this week.
Chiefs are better than a 4-2 team. So I mean, there's the other
We got
argument.
a lot of injuries too. We got a lot of injuries too.
If you look at, if you look at the 6 games we played, I mean, there's no reason we shouldn't be a one-loss team. In my opinion,
I agree with that. I think because
to me, the Jets is like just an anomaly. You're going to have those in the NFL.
Tyler.
No.
The Jets were a really bad team. They had scored 3 touchdowns all year, and the Jets get the ball first, drive down the field, and score on their first possession.
Yeah.
I mean, a team that's scored 3 offensive touchdowns all year. That's execution. That's coaching.
Here's the problem. They didn't get a coach that coached in the great state of Oklahoma this time around, since Barry Switzer. So, I always say you go back to Oklahoma, right?
That's why they're trying to go Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, and you aren't going to sit there and tell me that Sam Darnold coming back was a big part of them winning that game, because Sam Darnold is trash. Let's
be a little more honest there.
Yeah, no,
Tyler, a little more honest, will you?
I am not a Sam Darnold fan at all. I was so surprised when he was not throwing interceptions. It was weird for me.
You don't have him on your fantasy team, I take it.
God.
I say the thing about the way the Jets are built is super young team, super young quarterback, really good running back with Bell, kind of a weirdo head coach with Adam Gase. The dude is super strange. There's talent on that team. But at the same time, Dallas on both sides of the ball, even without Amari, I think you're way more talented than that.
How about
who's defensive coordinator for you guys? Is it that old Lions coach?
I don't know.
Him and Richard kind of
share?
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know about that.
It's kind of
Sharon Duke, co-defensive coordinator.
It's kind of like the Bears back in the '80s, right?
Yeah.
Sharon head coaches.
Something like that.
It worked out for them a little bit.
But I mean, how do you feel about the defensive staff, Steven?
You know what? Besides last year, I was so critical of the defense. I mean, how many times were we going in with the lead with 2 minutes, and we knew we were going to lose that game? We couldn't give it over to our defense. And it was always those big games that we had to win. And, here, you look at where we are today, and our defense has not gotten off to a good start. If you take a look at D-Law, his production, compared to last year, has significantly gone down. Mm-hmm. The other thing I want to talk about as far as the injuries, and this is where we get out coached as well. You take a look at the injuries. All teams deal with injuries. Who went out that Fleming filled in for? Cody Fleming. He filled in for.
I can't think of his name.
But against the Packers, here he is coming in his first week, and I mean he was just getting blown by. I think he gave up 3 sacks, and I think that's where good coaching comes in. Where you have a guy that comes in there mentally prepared, ready to go out there and fight, and this guy's getting blown away, and and gives up 3 sacks. So, I mean, I think that's the other thing I was looking at with the Jet game. Did Sam Darnold get better coaching that he was mentally prepared for the Cowboys? Guys coming in from mono, being out for so long, and is in there, he didn't lose. like he played last week.
Yeah,
And,
that's a big thing, and you can tell the reason, like the sample on that is, and how you kind of can compare is that Patriots, which whatever, everybody always brings up the Patriots when they talk about how a football team should run, but it's true, right? They're like the next man up squad. Like Antonio Brown goes out and they're like, yeah, okay. Like Josh Gordon's not really playing great anymore. Okay, we got a tight end we can throw in. They lose Gronkowski. Okay, we got somebody else we can fill in. Even when Brady gets suspended for 4 games, they bring in not only their second string guy, their third string guy too, and they both look well prepared for what they got to do. So I mean, it's like, because we know for a fact in Belichick with the Patriots, like, you don't miss meetings and you pay attention, or he's going to get you. I mean, they've seen it. James Harrison, when he played Patriots 2 years ago, he got traded from, or not even traded from Steelers, a free agent pickup. He was talking about
different mentality.
He was talking, yeah, totally different mentality than even when he played for the Steelers, and I think that's a well coached team with Tomlin. But like, he was talking about Tom Brady was running to meetings because Tom Brady was running late. He was running. I mean, that's like it's a culture thing. We talk about culture a lot when we talk about good teams. But that's like a huge thing. You can tell when the rookie guy comes in or the sub comes in and he's not ready. It doesn't happen on good teams, but it happens on teams that aren't ready.
All right,
that's how you lose games.
Let me ask you this question: owner Jerry Jones, if he stays away from the stadium, he stays away from communication with the front office, the coaching staff office, how does this team perform without him being?
If Jerry stays away,
how does this team perform?
I think they're worse.
He meddles.
I
so
think
much.
they're worse if he stays
really?
away. I think he's a great GM. He got to
Yeah.
be there to light a fire under Garrett is what he needs to do. But Garrett's lame duck. This is last year's contract. I think I don't think he's done.
Okay, this is going back before you guys were born. Great GMs give a great going away party to a great coach in Tom Landry. Didn't happen.
No, it didn't happen there.
See, Jerry gets a lot of flack for that, and I don't. I think Jerry did the right thing there. I think that Tom Landry, it was time to move on from him, but
throw him a party.
Maybe he could have done it in a little different way, but that's the only way he knew how to do it. I mean, Steven, where are you at kind of on how that went down back there in the late 80s?
If you take a look, there was a lot of loyalty back then to coaches. Coaches were with teams, for a decade. You take a look at Vermeil, over down in Philly, and you take a look at some of those other coaches. And I think that's probably where you started to see the shift in coaching change and evolve, of what Jerry did. I will say that if you take a look at our last couple drafts, him and Stephen Jones have done a really fantastic job. I remember picking up Zeke, and I thought to myself, I'm like, why didn't they go after Jalen Ramsey? I thought that was going to be the better pickup, and I mean that's paid off so far for us. Mm-hmm. Not so much for the Jags, but now they got 2 first-round picks for him. But our draft has been solid the last couple of years. Maybe not so much with Taco, but the last 2 or 3 years, it's been pretty stellar, and we've set ourselves up nice.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you.
The interest.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say the interesting thing about this year is you have all these players' contracts that are coming up that are all dependent on Jason Garrett coaching. Now, the question that I want to ask you guys, and I'd like to know your thoughts on this, is, do you bring in a coach midseason? Because does that affect the players on if they re-sign or not?
I see what you're saying.
I don't think not mid-season.
Not mid-season.
It can that can destroy stuff too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's okay to move on from a coach mid-season, but I think you have to hire an interim. I mean, my ideal candidate. People ask me all the time, who are you going to get? And I'm like, we're the Dallas Cowboys. We can get any coach we want. If Jerry wants to make it happen, he can get anybody he wants. I mean, my ideal candidate